I'm Doug Massey, and today we're going to talk about selling insurance in specific states like Florida, Texas, and even California. Now, the reason we're talking about this, and this may actually be in your state too, but I like to bring out these three states because if you live in one of these states and you're a newly licensed insurance agent, that you basically have a 0% of being a successful final expense or life insurance agent if you're going to sell face-to-face in one of these states. Therefore, you better hang out for this video because this video might just save you a lot of time and money and actually give you a different perspective. Because the simple fact is some of the information I'm going to share with you, even your own upline or potential upline won't share with you because they don't want to lose money and not make money off of you, even if you're going to fail. With that being said, if you live in one of those states, Florida, Texas, California, you're probably better off selling remotely right from the start. And the simple fact is the chances of you being successful either way at face-to-face sales is a lot lower than maybe 5-6 years ago. And before we get into it, stick around until the end of the video. I'm going to show you how to get our free agent super file. This thing's got a lot of sales presentation material that you're absolutely going to want to use, whether you're selling face-to-face or remotely. And we do recommend, if you're a new viewer, please subscribe to our channel. We're putting out new insurance sales content and final expense sales training videos like all the time. And yes, a thumbs up would be perfect. Let's get right into it and talk about selling face-to-face. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about remote sales. So in the event where you do live in these three states, there is a couple of things that I really do like about them. First of all, you've got these options where you can either sell in the remote areas, in other words, areas that are more rural, like the smaller towns. You can mainly target those areas, which is what I did. As a top producer in 2014, when I wrote over $400,000 of annualized premium, I did it traveling through Florida. To me, that's the best way to do it right off the bat. But you've got that option, but you've also got these really super full mega cities that are, and this is important, that are not just metropolitan, but urban. I use the word urban because they have these low income areas. And if you know final expense life insurance, that's who we target. We target folks that are on a low income and or fixed income and don't really have a lot of money to spend on their insurance or on anything really. For face-to-face sales, doing mail drops is really what I used to do when I first started. And unfortunately, due to agent saturation and over mailing, it's not very effective anymore. Now, I'm not saying don't try it because in some of the rural areas that haven't been like beaten up and overrun with insurance agents, you could still get a 1% return. So basically you do your mail drop, 1,000-piece mail drop, and you can get back around 10 leads. So don't just negate it. But the cool thing about it is also with mail drops is that you can target specific zip codes. So that's important. That's what I used to do. There's websites, zipcodes.com. I think it's like zip/codes.com was one of the sites I used to use. And I'm not sure if there's better sites or not, but I'm pretty sure they're still around so you can get an idea. And you can pull up data. You can find out like everything from household average income to ethnicities in certain areas. By doing this, you're able to target the specific people that you want to meet with, period. Agent saturation, especially in the metro areas, is a huge problem. So back when I was doing the mail drops, as time went on, and this is before I found this fixed lead program we had where we were able to pay, me and my agents were actually able to pay a specific cost per lead. Those are really hard to find. And even those are like $35 per lead, which if your lead is vague and basically is misleading to make the client think that they're getting something for free, $35 for a lead like that to me is just, the value is just not there. But back to what I would do is we would do the mail drops over and over. And after just a couple of years, we saw the returns dwindle like immediately. When we started off, I was able to get in some areas, I would get close to a 2% return. And then 9 months later, I'd hit that same area and I'm getting like a 1% return. This was years ago. So nowadays, I'm telling you, the returns are pretty terrible. This is why, to me, if you came to me and said, Doug, what type of leads should I buy? I can't generate my own leads. I would say an internet and or Facebook lead. And that's if you can get them, if you're doing face-to-face sales, if you can get them for, I want to say $15 or less. Problem with a lot of the internet leads and Facebook leads, I'm seeing these companies selling them for like $25, $30, $35 each. I don't care if they're filling out a form that says, yes, I want to buy insurance. Send a life insurance agent to my house. That is not worth $25, okay? The value's not there when it's generated through Facebook, because you're going to get the same exact objections that you would get with a lead that maybe says something like, there are special, affordable, state-regulated programs in your state, and now it makes it think that it's maybe through the government. The client may be thinking that, but at the end of the day, I'm telling you, you're going to get the same objections whether you use a specific lead card, which if you do a mail drop with a lead card that talks about buying life insurance, you're going to get a 0 return. Like, nobody's filling those things out nowadays. Years ago, you could get a small percentage of people that would actually reply, but now these people will fill out the lead card and get buyer's remorse immediately. I mean, it's crazy. We see it on our remote telesales platform all the time. With our system, they actually have to set up an appointment to speak with an agent. They know it's about getting a quote. And even when they set an appointment, and this is true fact, tip of the day, even when they set an appointment on your calendar, knowing this is about getting a quote for life insurance, we're only making a presentation, one presentation to every 3 appointments. That's the facts. That's how our industry is. That's how the people are that we work with, that we are targeting, our clients. Even worse to me, if you're selling face-to-face, especially, now let me just be very clear about this, especially Florida, California, Texas, maybe even Georgia, you're probably going to be doing road trips. And that's what I used to do. When I say road trips, I mean you're traveling to an area, you're getting a hotel room, staying the night there, and working at least 2-3 days in a row, maybe even spending multiple nights in the hotel room. To me, that's the best way to do it if you're targeting those more rural areas or working in cities. Maybe you're working in a city where there's leads available. Your upline said, hey, we've got leads in this city. It's out of state. And I've done that too, guys. I've tried. I live in Florida. I've gone to Georgia to sell insurance, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Alabama. Been to all 4 of those states because there were excess leads there. And every time I went there, I made a profit. So it worked. And that's when the appointment setter comes in. So when I was doing this, I would buy a lot of leads. I wasn't getting like, 15 leads a week. No, nobody does that anymore. You got 15 leads a week. You don't belong in this industry. I would get the top dollar direct mail leads. And honestly, I wanted at least 30 or 40 of those every single week. So I didn't mind spending a couple $1,000s a week on these type of leads. That's what I would do. I'd buy a bunch of them. I'd use an appointment setter to help me with my time. Now, the appointment setter's calling, setting appointments. I'm going to the appointments. Then I'm door knocking the leads that wouldn't give us an appointment. If they said, no, I'm not interested, I'd still door knock them. That's part of the business. When you do that, if you're thinking, that's kind of rude, no. You'd be surprised. People are different face-to-face than they are over the phone. When you use that appointment setter, now you're working like a team. So you're not just on your own island doing this. It's the 2 of you working together. She's booking appointments, you're door knocking in between. She's booking, you're door knocking in between. And that's how you get days really packed. That's how I was able to make, believe it or not, between 10 and 14 sales presentations per day, traveling. And that wasn't some of the times that would be among 3 different towns or cities. Let's get back to telesales. These 4 reasons are the basis of telesales. And this is why you probably should consider selling remotely no matter where you live. Number 1, you can actually make 2 to 3 times the amount of presentations, which means double or triple the amount of sales by selling remotely that you would normally do on a face-to-face basis. Number 2, no more driving around, killing your car. I went through a couple of decent cars. I used to be a Volvo guy. The Volvos worked great for me. I mowed through 2 of them. And with the no more driving, no more staying the night in hotel rooms. Look, I know some of you guys will sell face-to-face. In your mind, you're thinking, I would never have to sell face-to-face and stay the night in hotel rooms. Well, you're probably not that successful. because all of my friends, all the successful people that I've gone to a lot of conventions with that sell face-to-face, they all know what it's like to have to travel to sell life insurance and or final expense and stay the nights in those not so nice hotel rooms. Number 3, let's talk about your safety. A lot of the areas that we sell final expense, especially insurance in, and even like Medicare insurance, a lot of these areas are pretty tough. They're low income neighborhoods. My wife had a gun pulled on her years ago. Now, thankfully, she was safe. She got out of it. Nothing bad happened, but imagine what could have happened. And number 4, it kind of comes back to that number 1 reason. When you're speaking with a lot of people and you're making more presentations and you're making more sales, that's when you put yourself in a position to be basically a super producer in the financial way that even a successful, I'm using that word successful as kind of a blanket term, even a successful face-to-face agent doesn't earn. So in my first year, my very first year was actually one of my best years. My first year, I made over $200,000 pure profit after lead costs. Can't include wear and tear in the car because we're not going to talk about that, but that's what I made in my first year selling final expense. We've got agents in their first year that are selling final expense remotely, actually making the same amount of money. And then after they're very experienced, we're seeing them making even a lot more. So the financial potential for remote life insurance sales and final expense sales is going to be a lot higher, in my opinion, if you're selling remotely, especially if you live in one of those 3 states we talked about. Guys, hopefully you got something out of this video, and if not, I apologize. But if you'd like a copy of the free new agent super file that I mentioned earlier in the video, just shoot me an email at doug@ufesonline.com. If you'd like more information on our remote final expense telesales platform, now we're talking the platform where I'm probably the only agency owner that can guarantee an independent agent, of course you got to have your contracts with us, at least 20 to 30 appointments per day. If you say, Doug, I want 50 appointments today, I can make that happen. Well, not today, but I can make 50 appointments a day happen as long as you got the money for it. That's the difference between our platform and what everybody else is doing. Just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. So get your butt out there or get on that headset. Bottom line, whatever you do, make sure that you do something good for someone today. Happy hunting.